What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 52 of the College Loop Podcast. Just me today in this new studio. Tar is at a wedding. Daniel has some school come up. So it's just me chilling, just Jay chilling. And just remember, if you're watching the video, make sure to go like and subscribe. Or if you're watching, make sure to go follow and support and rate the podcast as well. But just to get right into it, talking about football, it's been a pretty busy week on the Plains. I say week, past couple of days, where it's draft season. It is NFL draft season, baby. It is on the NFL draft is on Thursday, April 27th, the day before your boy starts his Michael Jordan year this Friday. So, of course, go make sure to hit your boy up. It'll probably be brought up on the Thursday episode. But just to get into the Auburn players that y'all definitely want to hear about instead of me, I looked up some mock drafts. I found one that I thought was very interesting. Chad Reuter, who is more of a psycho when it comes to NFL draft than I could ever dream of being, he made a 7-round NFL mock draft where he has 4 Auburn players getting drafted. And believe it or not, Derek Hall was not the first one off the board. It was Owen Papo, round 3, pick 80, round 3, pick 83. There we go. Tongue twister with that one. Owen Papo going to the Seattle Seahawks. After that, in round 3, pick 89, Derek Hall going to the Giants. And round 5 is going to round it out with Bigsby going to the Chargers. And at pick 156, and then pick 176 of round 5, Colby Wooden going to Indianapolis. So that is a lot of key Tigers that we've been talking about throughout the draft season, draft era. Ekuliota not mentioned anywhere unless I missed him, which I don't think I did because I made sure to Control F to find him. He wasn't there. I was kind of surprised that Shedrick Jackson or after his pro day or John Samuel Schinker after their pro day wasn't anywhere in round 7-ish, but they're definitely going to get picked up after their pro days. But to get started with, I was kind of shocked in a way that Derek Hall fell to the 3rd round, especially pick 89. I don't think that's going to happen. I personally, I put up my own mock draft. You can go look it up on the College Loop Twitter. Make sure to go follow that. You just catch all the news when it happens. So I have Derek Hall going around 1 towards the end of the draft, end of the round, and even then I have him at 2nd round at the worst. So I'm not really sure what everyone else is missing that I'm seeing, because I think Derek Hall is the most complete player on this out of the Auburn draftees. And I look at it from the standpoint of I can understand where they're coming from. Papo, take him. If he's there and you need a linebacker, take him right there. Get him. Because you're getting an athletic monster of a human being who is going to develop and is going to be a star in the making wherever he goes. But just go along with the fact that I find it really odd that Owen Papo is going to go before Derek Hall, because believe me, if you ask anybody, Derek Hall is a round 1, round 2 guy. And if he's still the first Tiger you should be taking off the board. He is up there in terms of edge position rankings. He is edge 4, edge 3 in some places. Very little is he edge 7, 8, 9, 10. Getting him at round 3 almost makes him to steal a draft, and he can go further than that. Colby Wooden in the 5th round, that is going to be a steal if that is how this is going to happen. But Chad Reuter is a psychopath who did 7 rounds of a mock draft, so he might have just been doing something to make the time go by faster, because Colby Wooden in the 5th round, he must have just been, well, they need a defensive lineman. Oh, I left Colby Wooden on here. There he is. But yeah, get ready for the NFL draft. We'll be talking about it throughout the rest of this week on the Tuesday and Thursday episode to get y'all pumped, get y'all ready for the NFL draft. As much as I am, believe me, if you see me on draft day, I will be wearing my Panthers jersey, because I am going to be praying every minute leading up to the first pick that the Panthers don't mess up that first pick. So join me on my stress train on that. Go Bryce Young, from what I've been hearing. If he wins Rookie of the Year, I will be buying a Bryce Young jersey. Don't sue me. Don't attack me. Don't come at me. If he wins Rookie of the Year, I'm a Panthers fan too. I will be supporting my quarterback. That's just how it's going to go. But to get into more college football centric news, the NCAA just passed a law for college football with a new rule regarding first downs. So now, I believe going into this next season, the clock will not stop after first downs until the last 2 minutes of the game. So from what usually is like a get the clock stopped so you can hurry up and get the formation back, it's not going to be more NFL based and NFL like, which worries me a lot because I've never really heard anyone complain in my lifetime about the length of a college football game. As a fan, I've never really complained about it. And I've had friends that don't that would love to watch more of those LSU Texas A&M 7 overtime games. That is what college football fans love about the sport, just the craziness of it. And I don't understand if they're trying to make it go faster in some way, shape, or form, just for like I don't know. And this is one of those things where it's like they're missing the problem with the length of the game. I have never watched an Auburn game. I've never watched any game that I've chosen to watch and went, dang it, overtime, dang it, second overtime, dang it, third overtime. Around the time it gets to that overtime is whenever you start to sit up in your seat and get ready for what's going to be a pretty fun last 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes of the game. Because that's what college football is about. The thing that differentiates college football from the NFL, to me at least, college football is way more fun to watch than the NFL. I can watch any college football game that out there. I'll watch Central Michigan versus, I don't know, SMU if it's on. You can't get that with me for most NFL games. And I see that they're trying to get more NFL-like rules, like the first down. And they've already fixed overtime. You can't see the quotation marks because it's a green screen. They've already fixed overtime in a sense to make the game shorter, but it didn't really make it shorter because we saw with the Penn State, I believe Iowa, or Penn State, Illinois, where they did a 12 overtime game. It felt just as long as the 7 overtime game. This is like that. If I had to put my finger on it, I would figure this is just a way to make the game shorter for player health, is how I think they're trying to go about it. Because, if the clock's going faster, the game's going to get over faster. We can get out of here quicker. The game will only be 2 hours and 30 minutes instead of 3 hours. Here's the thing that's slowing down college football. I've watched plenty of games in my lifetime where it has gone to commercial, came back for a kickoff, gone back to commercial. And it was 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So that was 4.5 minutes with 30 seconds of playtime, where it was 4 minutes of commercials. The issue of college football is not the game. It's what's going on around the game. Like, TV timeouts slow down the pace of the game. Same thing in basketball. It just slows down the pace of the game. It takes momentum out of the picture at times, because there are moments where the team is just in emotion, goes to commercial, you lose it because it's not a timeout to stop momentum. It's not a timeout. It's not a timeout by the other team to stop momentum. It's a timeout by the people broadcasting the game. And I get you got to make money. Believe me, if someone wanted to give me an ad, give me sponsorships, I will stop the show to do a sponsorship because that is helping me out so I can make more content for y'all that y'all love and support, like y'all have been doing anyways, even without the sponsorships. So keep that coming, please. But my point is, I just don't think this is a good move because, again, like I said, no one is watching college football in today's day and age and complaining about the length of the game. It just doesn't happen. It has never happened. If someone has complained about the length of a college football game, like a normal college football game, no overtimes, they're insane. College football is 3 hours of pure nonstop chaos, fun. It's the best sport to watch, to me at least. That's just my opinion. I mean, I understand people in the Northeast love the NFL, love MLB. I mean, people in the South love it too for the Braves. But college football is different. It's a sport where everyone that loves it no matter what. I've seen a lot of comments trying to say they're trying to pester to a crowd of non-college football lovers. And that kind of seems what it's like. They're doing it in baseball. We're trying to make the game shorter so more people will watch it. College football has never had the issue of viewership. It's never had an issue of length. And this is trying to fix an issue that's not broken. And I wish I had some second mind here to talk to me about this, but y'all leave a comment below. Just let me know what do you think of the new NCAA rule about the first down, letting the clock stop throughout the entire game except for the last 2 minutes of the game. Now to get into more Auburn-centric news, portal players, it's still portal season. Portal is still rocking and rolling. Auburn has yet to have picked up a single player from the portal. They've lost 5 since this portal period has started, but they have not gained a single one. And I went through a couple of guys that I think Auburn should be going to, and I have a couple of guys on here that are or have been on visits or are going to be on visits very soon. First guy I'm going to bring up, I'm going to start with quarterbacks. Everyone wants to talk about quarterbacks. Everyone loves the quarterbacks, loves being in very massive 30-point font, Times New Roman, underlined, bolded, italics, quotation marks. Loves, excuse me, sorry, the quarterbacks. They love talking about the quarterbacks. There's not a single quarterback, except for maybe one, and I think I'm just kind of biased towards them, that I think would get the opportunity to start right away at Auburn. And that's Hayden Wolf. He's the only guy that really impressed me from everyone that I saw, that he actually got reasonable minutes, reasonable snaps, because he started on a bad Old Dominion team and impressed me. I watched his highlights. He's a really good quarterback. He was good for Old Dominion. And I think in the system that Hugh Freeze has, I think he brings that to Auburn. And excuse me while I drink my water. And ever since Chance Nolan, Oregon State, and Ben Bryant from Cincinnati, who's recently into the portal, every time one of those guys enter the portal, Auburn Twitter blows up. And I don't get it. They seem to think that Chance Nolan and Ben Bryant can bring a new level of play to Auburn that they couldn't already at their already Power 5 schools. Cincinnati is now a Power 5. Chance Nolan just transferred out of Oregon State after DJ Uiagalelei from Clemson transferred there, and after a season where Chance Nolan had 7 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Granted, he got hurt, but at the time of his injury, he was throwing 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And I don't really see what Auburn fans see in him. I'm definitely not blinded by the necessary need for a quarterback. I'd be fine with Robbie Ashford over Chance Nolan. I think Holden Jarner would start over Chance Nolan. Because I watched Chance Nolan play, and yeah, sure, bring him in. He's not starting. When I've watched highlights of him, I've watched what I could of him, and he just kind of looks like TJ Finley in a sense, because he doesn't make correct decisions on the field. It baffles me that he has been getting so much heat from Auburn fans who are wanting to bring him in. And right after that, we can talk about Ben Bryant, a guy who kind of took Cincy under. I mean, it was the last year of Luke Fickell, and Luke Fickell's a great coach. Wisconsin got a good one. Can't say whether or not that I would have loved Luke Fickell at Auburn, because I would have. But I look at it from Ben Bryant. You had Desmond Ritter for 4 years. Desmond Ritter took Ben Bryant's job. This is Ben Bryant's 3rd time transferring. He was at Cincy, 2nd time transferring. 3rd time. Third time. There it is. Came to Cincy, lost his job to Desmond Ritter, transferred out to, I believe, Eastern Michigan. Ritter leaves to the NFL, gets drafted. Then Cincinnati was left with Evan Prater, the young, I believe, sophomore at the time, 4-star. Ben Bryant comes back from Eastern Michigan, comes back to Cincinnati. Disappoints. It was not good in the slightest. I won't lie. It wasn't good. I think he got hurt because Evan Prater started playing later on in the season. Cincinnati, with their new coach, and I believe it was Satterfield, whoever was coaching at Louisville. I think that was a Satterfield. There's 2 of them out there, and they both don't do a good job of play calling. So that's Why I can never remember which one's which. One is now at Nebraska as offensive coordinator. One is now the coach of Cincinnati. How they keep getting jobs, I don't know. Because South Carolina fans really hated their guy. Louisville fans really hated their guy. And now they stepped up in a sense, I would say, from Louisville to Cincinnati, and of course from South Carolina, who is getting good, to Nebraska with a lot of money. So that's my 2 cents on that. But Ben Bryant just transferred out after I believe he lost his job to Emory Jones. And the Auburn fans may remember him from leading the SEC in interceptions at Florida. And that was during the season where Anthony Richardson kind of went off for the first time. That's when Anthony Richardson finally showed up at Florida, was because he'd have to come in for Emory Jones so they could score on offense. So what I've been seeing on Auburn Twitter, for the very least, on Auburn Twitter, is they want to bring a guy in because they are sick and tired of Robbie Ashford and Holden Jenner. They want to bring in 2 guys who are transferring out of their places for presumptively losing their job after they did not perform well in 2022. That I don't get it. I'll never get it. It makes no sense to me. I've watched Ben Bryant play because Cincinnati is my second team that I like to root for because of NCAA 14. But that's neither here nor there. I have a little bias. I have a little love for Cincinnati. I watched Ben Bryant play. He's not good. And I can't really look at Ben Bryant or Chance Nolan right now and look at them and say they'd start. I think Holden Jenner has a higher ceiling than both those guys. I think he has more potential than both those guys. Same thing with Robbie Ashford. I think he has a higher ceiling and more potential. And the thing is, from what I saw from Robbie Ashford, yes, he threw the same touchdowns and interceptions. Yes, it makes no sense. Statistically, it makes no sense. Robbie Ashford and Holden Jenner both have more to offer to a new coach in Hugh Freeze's Auburn team right now than 2 guys who just lost their jobs. It makes no sense. And I think you bringing in 2 guys who, frankly, aren't good to start on a team that you have a fan base with expectations. And yes, the transfer portal has been slow. Yes, none of the home run quarterback recruit players have entered the portal yet. But that does not mean you're going to just start bobbing for rotten apples. That's not what you want to do. And just to move on from the quarterbacks conversation, because I know I've been talking for a long time about the quarterbacks. Wide receivers, I'm just going to go through the list. Those were the 2. Those were just, I had to get off my chest. Had to let y'all know how I thought about the transfer quarterbacks. Jordan Hudson, wide receiver from TCU, has been getting a lot of traction ever since Auburn lost Tavares Dawson. Just bring another wide receiver just to beef that room up a little bit. Offensive line, offensive line is where Auburn's getting a lot of player traction, player interest. Starting off with Emmanuel Pregnon, the inside offensive guard from Wyoming. He's been getting traction because literally everyone and their mama has offered him a full ride. Auburn was one of, I believe, from the last post I saw, 22 teams that offered him. And that just lets you know the kid's good. And he's not the only one. If you look at Cameron Johnson from Houston, another offensive tackle, he's been getting a lot of traction too, from what I've been hearing. I've heard a lot of people talk about him. Last guy I'm talking about, Jaden Muskrat, offensive guard from Tulsa. He is one of the guys I'm going to talk about who's has gotten an official visit. And that's because he's from Tulsa. And if you don't know, Philip with 1 L, by the way, Philip Montgomery, Auburn's offensive coordinator, was the head coach at Tulsa last year. So obvious, connection there. We saw it with Dylan Wade, the new offensive tackle that we got in the previous transfer season. So those are offensive guards. It's clear that Auburn really wants to beef up the O-line as much as possible because it's one of those positions. O-line and D-line are the 2 positions you want the most depth at, no matter what, because those are the guys that are going to be constantly going in and out because those are the hardest working MFers on the field at any given time. And then I couldn't really find any D linemen that Auburn has been interested in. If I have missed one, just let me know in the comments. I know there's some edge rushers out there, but I don't know if edge rusher is as important in position as a lot of people have been saying it is, because I think Auburn goes 3 deep. And you got two guys we got Cedric Falk, who's a young gun in the making. You have Elijah McAllister with SEC experience. And of course, you have Dylan Brooks, who has been on the team for a couple of years now and is right now, I believe, the third string on the team right now. I don't really think edge rusher is as much as a position of need as a lot of people have been saying it is. And when I think of position of needs, outside of quarterback and wide receiver, I think of linebacker as my like a 1B category right now. And Auburn has actually got an official visit from a linebacker from Cincinnati named Jaheim Thomas, who I believe, if my stats are correct, I think he led Cincinnati in tackling. Either that or he just has 95 tackles across 3 seasons, which I think is actually more correct. So he's a guy who you can bring in. I'm sorry, I messed on my hat. That's actually something to do. A guy who can come in and probably immediately start at linebacker. Immediately a linebacker, because I don't know if you've been listening to the show at all. I have been very disappointed in the linebacker room throughout the entire spring. It has been abysmal. And the only guy I've had positive things to say about has been Robert Woodyard. And it's very telling that was a guy that Bama really wanted. Auburn flipped him. And now I believe he is one of the better linebackers on the team. So he needs a guy next to him to actually be good as well, because I've been disappointed with every linebacker thus far this spring. And I would love it if they all prove me wrong. I would love it. It'd be amazing. Because you know what? If we don't need a transfer and they can step up, wonderful. Be chef's kiss, actually, if they could find a way to step up at the linebacker core. Last position I'm talking about, defensive backs. I only found really one. Auburn might need some depth at safety. So I found Robert Rahimi, safety from Liberty, an obvious connection to Hugh Freeze there. And now, done with basketball. We're done with football. It was 20 minutes of straight football. Let's go. I'll start with men's basketball, which has been, oh boy, for the past 3 days. It's been a week. 3 weeks. It feels like 3 weeks since all this happened. Starting off with LeBaron Philon decommitting from Auburn University. The 6'4" combo guard from Mobile was a 4-star, best player from the state of Alabama, and is now the second player to decommit from the class of 2024, leaving Tahad Pettiford as the only commit from this class. So Peyton Marshall decommitted a while back. I think we talked about it 2 shows ago last week, I think it was. It was a huge loss because Auburn is desperate need for big men right now. And I'm hearing word that this was in regards to Denver Jones transferring into Auburn, and LeBaron Philon did not like that, so he decommitted. So I don't know if it's cause for panic right now. It definitely is teetering. If I had to put it like on a traffic light, it'd probably be like a yellow. Because I still think they can turn this class around. Todd Pettiford is a 5-star, so Auburn's still very highly ranked in the class. Just need to pick up some more bodies. I trust Bruce Pearl to do that, but it does add the question: should Auburn be really concerned about the class 24? Because right now it stands at 1, when last week it was 3, and yeah, it's a little rough. Maybe Wes Flanagan leaving for Ole Miss has something to do with it. Maybe Denver Jones was the issue that LeBaron had, but right now we don't know. And now to talk about people Auburn has lost, talk about people Auburn has gained. Chaney Johnson has transferred to Auburn from UA of Huntsville. 6'7" guard / forward, average 15.3 points per game, and about 30% from 3-point line. Great pickup, really under the radar pickup, really, because he's from Huntsville. Because one of those guys are just really below radar. If he's not like a Power 5, it doesn't really get a lot of traction if they're not a basketball school. But I think it's a guy that Auburn is desperate need for. 6'7", gives you some height, especially at the 3 or 4 position that you desperately need. And I mean, that's all I've been hearing about him. I think it's a great pickup. I think he might end up being a great piece on next year's team, especially if Auburn can add in a couple more transfers, preferably at the 5 position. Please do not want Dylan Cardwell starting for all 40 games. So it'd be lovely if Auburn can get one more guy. And then another guy Auburn's been talking about, Matthew Cleveland, has listed his top 3, and Auburn is one of them. I believe it is Miami and Missouri that are also in the contention for the 6'7" guard from Florida State University, Matthew Cleveland. It'd be huge if Auburn gets him. Maybe they can. A lot of traction. Auburn fans have been going crazy about him on Twitter. So, fingers crossed. Be a cool graphic that I can make up in a quick, fast, and a hurry. Last player I'm going to talk about, Johan Trejo, off to Santa Barbara after he transferred out of Auburn. Actually, last player I'm going to talk about, Jaylin Williams, has declared for the NBA draft, keeping his collegiate eligibility. I think that's one of the guys that we could see get drafted as well. But I wouldn't be shocked if he came back. Wouldn't be shocked at all. It's same thing with Janai Broom. Just testing the waters, just see how well your name is about to other coaches and see what you need to improve on and come back and then go to the NBA next year. And these are something that both these guys can do. So right now, I don't think it's something major to worry about. Jay Will, I believe, is more likely to come back than he stay for the draft unless he just pops off, which he definitely could. He definitely might. And get picked up. And you know what? Maybe go to Oklahoma City Thunder where he can join and make a whole trio of Jaylin Williamses. So that'd be really dope. And then my last bit of men's basketball news, Bruce Pearl has hired Corey Williams from Texas Tech University as the new assistant coach, replacing Wes Flanagan, who, of course, as I mentioned, has left for Ole Miss. Now, we talked about it last week with, I know his last name was Tyson. I don't know if it was Julius Tyson, transfer from Texas Tech that Tar was really high on, really wants to come to Auburn. This is the key right here. So, yeah, that's men's basketball, just players leaving, players coming in, coaches coming in. It's last 2 days of men's basketball has been a whirlwind of emotions. It's just been all over the place. And, that's just what happens with this logo. This logo right here, this AU right there, it causes this. It does this a lot. We don't really know what's going on. As for women's basketball, not really about a lot of news about women's basketball, so I'm just going to skip straight to baseball because, we talked women's basketball still picking up transfers left and right. Let's see, baseball. Game one won against the Mississippi State Bulldogs 2-1. And, it was a really good showing from Auburn overall. Cooper McMurray got a home run. Excuse me, I got to get more water as I'm talking. And, of course, excuse me, you had Bobby Pierce fly out to center field, giving Chris Stanfield the score. And, sorry, got a text. Yeah, overall, game one, pitching, great. Only gave up 4 hits. And Tommy Vale, again, popped off. Right now, he is Auburn's best pitcher. And it is absolutely no question as to who Auburn's best pitcher is right now. You are still down Jogo. And at this point, I believe we could just say that he's down for the count for the rest of the season. I don't think Jogo's coming back in anytime soon. And for what game one was, game two was not. Auburn almost came back. They were down, I believe, 11-3 at the bottom of the 9th inning. Came back, lost 11-10. It sucks. And, of course, it really sucks whenever you can put most of the blame on the fact that the pitching rotation was bad again. It was very bad. Very bad, very bad, very bad. Gave up so many runs. Yeah, and somehow John Armstrong got the loss, even though he only pitched for 0.1 of an inning, is what that says, and pitched 7 pitches, and he got the loss. Did I say that right? Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, so after Tommy Vale, there's not really anyone starting for Auburn at pitcher that is worth a hoot. Is that my thing? Sometimes they get hot and they fix what's going on. Yesterday, not one of those days. Auburn pitching gave up too many runs. And again, the offense just tried to get back into it that they've been doing all season. They've been saving the pitchers' butts week in, week out. There's not a lot they can do. Scoring 7 runs in the bottom of the 9th is out of this world. And It would have been crazy if they would have found a way to win this game going into extra innings or, maybe doing a walk-off. It would have been crazy. But the fact of the matter is it's not a lot you can do when your offense should never be put in that situation ever where they need to score 8 runs to tie the game or they need to score 9 runs in the ninth inning to win the game. It's something we would talk about week in, week out. Every episode when we talk about baseball has been leading up to the bullpen is bad. It is really bad. And when you get past Tommy Vale and you don't have Jogo anymore, the pitching is just not there. They're all young. They're all inexperienced. They all get raked. It's rough. It's a rough watch. And it happens more often than not. Maybe something happens tomorrow. I don't really know who's pitching right now. We probably won't know until tomorrow. Or I probably won't know tomorrow. Everyone else probably knows but me. But maybe Auburn can find a way to get the offense kickstarted quicker. And maybe just, I guess, the easy thing is to score more runs than Mississippi State. And win a series in a must-win scenario. Auburn, I believe, now needs 4 more wins to make it to Huntsville. And, as Harrison Tarr is now texting me while I'm recording, talk about the New York Rangers winning their series, I believe. And, I mean, there's not a lot they can do, except, I guess, use this season as an opportunity to get better. Maybe next season will be their year. But right now, I don't think Auburn's hosting a regional. I don't think Auburn's going to make regionals because it's been too bad. And you can't put any of the blame this season on the offense. They've been hitting the ball. The pitchers have just been missing the mark. And that's been the theme of the season. That's what's been happening all year. And to wrap up the show with softball, they are now tied with Alabama after a doubleheader on Saturday after, I believe, inclement weather in Tuscaloosa. So I'll push both games to today where they split. Auburn, of course, I believe, lost game 1. They lost 6-1 in game 1, and then they won 5-1 in game 2. And I believe they're going to need Maddie Pitta tomorrow in a opportunity to win the game. And I believe we might be sitting Maddie Pitta versus Montana Fouts, which those are 2 of the best pitchers in America right there. That's who I think they might throw out there. And it's going to be a pitching duel. It's probably going to end up being whoever scores the first, 2 runs is going to win the game. But talk about the games yesterday. Auburn just struggled in game 1. You got a Denver Bryant homer in the 6th inning, and you go to the second game, and then everything got lit up. You had Denver Bryant get another home run. That was 2 in one day, which was a 3 RBI home run to put Auburn up 3-0 in the first inning. You're going to need a lot more of those and in quick succession to finish out the series against a top, higher-ranked Alabama team. And Bree Ellis also got her signature Bree bomb in the bottom of the 6th to really close out the game or put the last nail in the coffin, if you will. But yeah, baseball in a must-win, softball and I don't think it's a must-win, but you like to beat your rivals, especially Alabama. They are the number 1 rival to your school, so I guess it's a must-win because you want to beat Alabama. But yeah, both those teams, of course, tied up in their series and really going to need a lot of help from their pitching. And, got to be honest, one of these sports is a lot more little more or less in trouble at the pitching position than the other. And I guess you probably can put 2 pieces together and figure out which one I'm talking about with that. But yeah, with all being said, that'll wrap up the show. I'm Dylan Larck at your boy the Tank on Twitter. If you're watching, it's just right. Sorry, new place I'm recording at for right now for today. It's just right there. Right there at your boy the Tank at YABOY the Tank. Also go follow Harrison Tarr and Daniel Luck on Twitter. Just look up by Harrison Tarr like you're reading a byline, as he would say, and at Daniel J. Luck. And of course, follow the College Loop literally everywhere. But before I say that, before I get to that shit, make sure to go watch me on the Auburn Daily Show every Monday and Wednesday. Monday with Lance Dahl, Wednesday with Harrison Tarr. Almost forgot that. Can't forget that. But yeah, go follow College Loop literally everywhere. That is Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you want to listen to us, you got us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and of course, Google Podcasts. But again, sadly, we are not on MySpace. I did tell y'all, get us to 1,000 subs, we'll make a MySpace, and we'll post on there too. I don't know how MySpace works. I'm way too young for MySpace, and that's something I never thought I'd ever say about something. But yeah, with all that being said, as I look for the branding that I have now am able to add to the show. Sorry about that. Where is it? Oh my lord. There we go. With all that being said, this has been a College Loop podcast.